Hi, my name's Troy Smith. I wanted to make a video for people just getting started in iRacing in particular. I guess you could extend it over to Assetto Corsa, things like not Gran Turismo, the more simulator-based racing. Um, I have a set of rules that I use when I race that have served me fairly well, and I'll try and explain them here as best I can. Um, I'm gonna start out with a couple pet peeves that you'll find out through the course of the video where it comes into play. Pet peeve number one is that I don't think a lot of people who play simulator-based racing games actually watch real racing. So they tend to have a more idealistic view of racing. And then they watch the top split rated iRacers on YouTube, and that just reinforces that. Um, there's a couple of guys out there that you'll see. Dave Dave Cameron once in a while will post the outtakes of bad races that he had, which is a good thing because people see that it's not all, the glory that it seems to be in a lot of the videos. But with all that said, I'll start out with my first rule. My first rule is don't be afraid to make mistakes. Even professionals make mistakes. And if you watch real racing like I do religiously, then you understand this. Even professionals make mistakes. So a bunch of non-professionals on laser scan tracks with laser scan cars and the physics that we have, they're not going to make mistakes. Well, yeah, you might want to rethink your thought process there. It might say pro in the back of your car. You are not. Neither am I. So that's that's my take on making mistakes and things like that. It's going to happen. Everybody's going to make a mistake once in a while. Just take somebody else out, apologize, and say, "Hey, I'm sorry." An "I'm sorry" goes a long way. If you don't apologize, it says more about you than the game. You know, we're a community and we've all got to get along. The more we all get along, the better the racing will be. You see somebody that makes a mistake, hey, offer them some pointers. Say, hey, you might want to try this. You might want to try this. I had a very top level racer one time who watched a video of me racing and messaged me out of the blue. He raced the BMW M6. I'm not going to mention his name, but he raced the BMW in a lot of the esports level races. Messaged me out of the blue and said, "Hey, you might want to try this. You might want to try this. When you're doing this, do this." And I was appreciative. And I wrote him back and I told him, I said, that's great advice. Do you mind if I once in a while bounce a couple things off of you so that I can learn? And he said, no problem. And I haven't talked to him in some time now, but we struck up a conversation here and there, and it was a good thing. It was a learning experience. But you can't be afraid to make mistakes because we all do. My second rule is be aggressive, not foolish. And if you don't understand the difference between that, then you shouldn't be playing uh, an MMO game. So being aggressive is part of racing. You can be aggressive, but don't be a fool when doing it. Don't stick your nose in under somebody in a turn, and expect them to know that you're there. Assume that they don't. You have to assume the worst in any situation. If you don't, odds are you're going to be pissed off constantly because you're always getting wrecked out or somebody's always wrecking. Well, you know what the common denominator is in all your wrecks? You. Okay? Did you do something foolish? Odds are you don't know until you go back and watch the replay. Sometimes it's obvious, sometimes it's not. But don't ever get on the radio and start blasting somebody about, hey, learn to drive. Hey, learn to drive your car. Hey, you're a jack off. You're an asshole. You wrecked me and you ruined my race. No. That reflects more on you than on them because you're being a child about a video game. And I'll get into that later. So doing something foolish, it seems pretty straightforward. You know what's foolish, what's not. Be calculated in what you do, not foolish. The next rule is to know your competition. If you watch the top split iRacers and stuff on YouTube, you can see them watching ahead. They're always watching a car in front of them, 2 cars in front of them, 3 cars in front of them to know where that car is weak. That's where they're strong, where they're weak. They know their weaknesses. They're learning everybody else's, where they can pass safely, where they can maybe make a move. They're working on getting that person in front of them in a certain position to where they make a mistake. So, yeah, know your competition. Take the time to learn your competition. That leads into the next rule. Patience. Everybody preaches this. Patience, patience, patience. Any race you're ever in, unless it's a 1-lap race, well, even when it's not a 1-lap race, it is never won in the first turn of the first lap. Ever. It can certainly be lost there, but it is never won there. So being a jerk and being foolish serves no purpose. If you're fast enough to get around the cars in front of you, then you can do it in a safe place. Okay, not turn 1, lap 1. If it's a 26 lap race like this one, then, or 22 lap race like this one, then by God, you got time. Okay? Patience, patience, patience. Enjoy the ride. Enjoy the learning experience of watching the people in front of you. At the end of a race, if you're not upset about not finishing as well as you thought you should, or not winning the race, guess what? You're human. That's the way it is. It's competitive. It's a competitive game. It's a competitive sport. People are going to get upset, me included, you included, everybody included, when things don't turn out as good as they thought that they would. You're a human being. Take it as a learning experience and think, well, hey, next time I can do this. Next time I shouldn't do this. Next time I'm going to do this. But take a negative and turn it into a positive, because there's no situation on track that you cannot learn something from. Now, this is something that I've seen time and time again, whether it's retribution, whether it's punt to pass, none of it has any place in the sim community. None of it. If somebody wrecks you and you can get back on the track, that doesn't mean the next time you run across them on the track you got to try and wreck them. That is childish. Go back to kindergarten and suck your thumb. You know, if somebody punt the passes you, you know, that's a reflection on them, not on you. If they couldn't get around you any other way, then you were doing things right. It's racing. It's not, hey, let me blink my lights and let me pass you. That's not racing. It's about if they couldn't force you to make a mistake to where you could pass them, that's a reflection on them. So don't go out and try and ruin their race. Granted they're an asshole. They hit you to pass you, but so be it. It is what it is. Report them. If there's a case of retribution or somebody just being a tool bag on track, then report it, protest it. Do the right thing, be the bigger man, woman, just be the bigger person. Now these next couple rules are very important. And the next one is never race stupid. That means two different things. You do not race stupid, and you do not race against somebody who is racing stupid. Matt Malone just said in his video, his latest video, that if somebody's being stupid around you, I'm paraphrasing, let them go. Let them go by. Take your foot off the gas, let them go. Because odds are, if you don't, they're going to dive bomb you, they're going to wreck you, and then they're going to bitch because, hey, they don't know how to race. So that odds are, like Matt said, you're going to pass them later on, wrecked alongside the road, or gain a position because they're sitting in the pits getting repairs because they want to be a tool bag on the track. That's the way it is. So be it. Now, I kind of touched on this last rule a little bit before, but know where your place is in any given race you're in. If you're sitting at 1500 I rating and there's guys with 3K, 4K, 5K, God forbid, odds are you going to be in their league? No. Are you expected to win against that? No. It's all about your ranking compared to theirs and where you finish. So your race is with the guy that's directly in front of you. So that is the race you need to focus on. Don't focus on what do I need to do to get to the front? What do I need to do to get to the front? Focus on what do I need to do to pass this guy in front of me? That's your race. Whether you like it or not, whether you're not finishing where you want to, focus on winning that race, your race. And that may change a bunch of times over the course of a single race. You pass somebody, they fall back, you catch the next guy, that's your race now. It is what it is. You've got to be able to recognize that and not have it in your head that, yeah, I've got to get up here and race guys that are out of my league. If it's a really close split and you're all right around 1500, then maybe you should have qualified better. Maybe you should have taken the time to practice a little more, and you could have qualified better. You could have learned something. That is where it's at. You'll get a lot more enjoyment out of winning your race than winning the race against guys that you can't hope to beat. Okay? Now, the biggest piece of advice, it's not necessarily a rule per se, but it's the biggest piece of advice that I can give to anybody is to keep everything in perspective. You're sitting in a rig, in a room, hopefully not in your mom's basement, in front of a computer monitor, racing virtual cars around a virtual track. There is no life or death circumstances involved in this, unlike real racing. The odds of you being one of the 1,000th of 1% that would get the opportunity to race in a real car are pretty fucking slim. You know, not everybody can be James Baldwin. Not everybody can be Jimmy Broadbent. But it's only a game. Keep that in mind when you're in it. You can always get out of the race and get into another one. You may have a different experience in that race, but it's still a game. And if you keep that in perspective, you'll have a lot more fun. Okay? I can't stress that enough. So, with all of that said, you know, I understand these are my opinions, these are my rules, and opinions are like assholes, and everybody's got one. And from what I've seen, a lot of people in iRacing can be assholes. You know, it is what it is. It's our chosen game that we play. Whether it's a sim, or no matter what you call it, at the end of the day, it's a game. Your chances of getting hurt are nil. Paying for car repairs are nil. You lose nothing except a little bit of I rating. Big fucking deal. You know, so all that said, you know, go out, have a great time racing. I hope to see you on the track, and we'll check you later. Smith out.